Hello!
Hello!
And welcome to House Rolls, where we don't talk about wife beaters and monkey tails.
And Mr. Dale Tuckman.
And
Anywho,
other fashion atrocities.
all right. So for those of you that are just joining us, we are on episode, what is it, like 5 right now?
9?
Well, it's session 10, so we had 5 sessions
Right.
before we streamed, and it's session 10. So this should be episode 5. So welcome to episode 5.
Welcome.
Where we last left the group, you all had, let's see, taken a little bit of a trip across the wintry mountains and plains of this region, which I don't think you know the name of, at least at the present moment, or at least have not necessarily paid attention to. You guys traveled, engaged with these kind of reverse sturges that pumped some kind of chemical into you rather than draw blood from you. You had an encounter with some dire wolves, which was very anticlimactic. And I believe that's all you had to deal with on the traveling side, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, and just epically failing at, gathering food, navigating.
Yeah, that was pretty
Starving to
bad.
death.
Yeah, pretty close. But you made your way into one of the trade coastal outposts of Wither that is just a little bit away from the actual city itself. Here there is tons of trade, there are tons of seamen, there are tons of sailors. Fuck.
Yeah, you said that wrong, buddy.
Listen, you did that to yourself, man.
Whatever. Anyways.
And Mike is hanging around like, you should know better.
I mean, you saw the
You-
grin
okay.
immediately, so...
You all had a very, very festive dinner together and had been invited to go see a shop, or at least some kind of place of residence within the outpost. On your way there, though, you stopped at a little general store called Hanan's. Also, the individual was known as the Dreamer, apparently, a little kobold who wants to open up a chain of general stores that are meticulously organized and well-stocked at all times, providing excellent service. You also, after that meeting, made your way over to Gethel's store, where she gave you 100 gold of credit, and you spent it in various ways, eventually retiring at the Starry Nights Inn, if I correctly recall. So, as you all bed down, August and Solanine enjoy some room service and a little bit of a hearty conversation. Lincoln and Mahar enjoy some much-needed time together after so many years apart. Yorick goes alone, and Lucian, if I recall correctly, you and Zunrith were rooming together, or were you rooming separately?
No. Lucian had his own room, and he ordered 3 chickens.
That is right. You did order 3 chickens.
Yep.
Did we specify if they were cooked chicken or like a
No, you didn't. So,
Nope.
you hear a knock on the door. Thunk, thunk, thunk.
Hello?
The door, can I come in?
Sure.
The door kind of like creaks open, and Vladimir, did I give him a description?
Vladimir.
I don't think I gave him a description. So what you see before you is this black-haired high elf with just hair that reaches to the knees almost, adorned in some very interesting like robe coat type deal that's kind of blocky in silhouette, and kind of just comes in and has a plate of 3 chickens, uncooked. Your chickens.
Lovely.
Where would you like me to put them?
Well, I'll take them. Do I get the platter too?
No, you have to eat them with your bare hands.
I never
Off the
said I was
floor.
eating them.
He
Vladimir
just takes
still
it.
employed here?
He just
Damn.
takes the chickens over to a table and just kind of sets them down gingerly. You enjoy. And just kind of like excuses
will.
himself.
And then I'll just, as he leaves, I'll just kind of do that. As
Oh my.
And
I
Tilly shuts the
don't know.
door.
I don't know who's weirder, Lucian or the elf who just said you had to eat the chicken with your bare hands. I don't.
He's
I don't
catered
know.
to a number of very colorful, interesting people.
I don't think that accurately just explains what just happened.
He's got a point.
So, you are left with the chickens. Are you doing anything with these chickens? What are you doing with them?
I'm right next to August's room, right? So I'm going to be slapping them against the wall a bit, making noise to make weird noises she doesn't understand, and then that's it.
I want a sample. I want a sample.
'Cause I don't have a raw chicken to slap against a wall right now.
No, I
So-
would not like that. Leave my ears out of this.
The reason I got 3 of them is because eventually they'll break apart and I'll need a new one. So
The man
Yeah.
came prepared.
Okay, so
I will also be making weird noises and other verbs.
so here's the thing, that you don't know about this inn is that Vladimir is very familiar with people who want private conversations and experiences. So his inn boasts a sort of soundproofing. That being
This is
said,
very loud.
August, you should make a perception check.
Please roll low. Please roll low. Please.
Now I'm just imagining him making monkey sounds like.
Can Lindsay give herself disadvantage for this roll?
You're muted, Lindsay.
It's just a high DC. What's your roll?
13. I accidentally rolled
13.
performance, but 13.
You hear some really odd animal that is like, I mean, clearly they're like a few doors down, but somebody has brought some weird fucking animal into this place. Meanwhile, you and Solonian are enjoying red
Okay.
wine and cheeses.
Is there someone? Are any other people like adjoined by the wall next to Lucian's room, or is it just?
You all are like kind of in a strip together. Let's have Yorick and Zunrith roll, and Lincoln roll a house roll to see who's the closest.
Oh, I don't hope, but I also hope that it is me.
9.
It'll be the lowest is closest.
That's a 9 as well.
Ooh, Lincoln?
We didn't hear you.
10, sorry.
10. Okay.
Okay, roll off.
roll off.
So, roll off. Yeah, we've gotta have a winner
I
here.
got a 1. I
Oh,
got a 1, so unless
he
you
wins.
get me.
All right. So Zunrith, make a perception check.
Oh boy. I'm really good at these. Thank God that's a 2. So, what is it? Like 7 with my perception.
You hear some like very, very vague, like somebody is skirting across the ground, or like somebody's dropping like a really heavy clothes. It's hard to tell. Not your concern.
I imagine Zunreth right now is just sitting in a dark room with like the pillow over his face, and he's just, why am I here? What am I doing here? Just sulking a little.
All right. So, anybody else have anything else they wish to do before they kind of go to sleep for the night?
Well, you mentioned last week after the session had ended that
Yes.
basically Mahar and Lincoln were just gonna push their beds together.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, but we can just fade to black for whatever you
Oh,
want to do.
Ooh.
I'm not
See-
so sure how.
see, we'll role play a little bit here. As the door kind of closes behind you and Mahar, she kind of looks at the room and she can see the bed on one side and the bed on the other, and like, without saying much, she just kind of goes over to one side and begins to like like just starts squeaking, pushing the bed over to yours. She's not incredibly strong, but she's athletic.
Yeah, yeah, he'll just help without really raising an objection to it. He's not very strong either, but
yeah.
maybe she's probably stronger than him, so
The
it's
two of
probably
you,
more like
it's this beautiful, awkward scene of like sub 10 strength on two individuals just pushing this together, but it does get easier with two people.
absolutely.
As you both get done arduously pushing the beds together, she just kind of says, I just figured it'd be nice to be closer after being so far apart.
No, I agree. Granted, we don't have a good view of the stars like last time we went stargazing, but this would be... at least we have each other this time.
Well, the window's right there, so we could move it, but I really don't want to.
I don't either.
Fair enough. And she kind of like grabs your hand and pulls you close, a little bit firmer than maybe you're expecting, and pulls you into a hug.
Yeah, he'll return it. And just kind of just savor the chance that they've had for just embracing each other as something that they haven't had in several years.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So as the two of you have whatever adventures you have,
Right.
fade to black on your scene.
Sure.
Anybody else have anything they wish to do before they fall asleep in the final hours of the night?
Is this one of those where I should roll a performance check?
Let's leave that all completely to the imagination.
I'm sorry. You made me roll a performance check in the first campaign.
I have since revised my
Lindsay's
methods.
still a little bitter.
And it was bad, and so eternally, I was like bad at it.
Oh no.
Let's do it. Let's see the
All right.
performance.
Oh,
I want
no.
to see
Got
it now.
it.
I feel like at some point, when Zunreth is not just anxiously sulking, he's gonna like just take a moment to like look at the necklace. That he, I guess, stole now.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
look at it for a while and just meditate on it a little bit before he goes into his trance.
Okay.
With Lucian, once he realizes his efforts are in vain, actually, he wouldn't know until morning anyway, if they were in vain or not. Yeah. So, he's gonna take over the leftover chicken that's on a platter. He's gonna place it in front of him. And he's gonna try to do the thing he did earlier, putting his hands together towards the chicken to see if anything happens, because he's not quite sure how he did that last time.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I would say, for fun, let's make this a house roll. On a 7 or higher, you recreate the effects of the spell.
That's a 9.
9.
Yeah.
As you put your fingertips together and splay them out in a fan, you hear this as like flames begin to erupt from your fingertips, devouring the final raw chicken. You just watch in amazement as it like flares out in front of you, and it doesn't take you too long to realize, oh shit. And you've caught like part of the bed and like the side desk on fire, and you've definitely scorched the wall. And smoke begins to fill the air. Everybody make a perception check to see if you smell this smoke.
Damn, dude, it was supposed to be low heat, convection oven temperatures, not like a full pizza stone.
I was gonna say I was gonna sit on the bed and do it, but we'll just go with what happens.
Thank God, that's a 2 again.
7
15.
for me.
Smother it with a blanket. It's fine.
7 again.
10.
Oof. So, Lincoln, as you and Mahar are having this lovely conversation, in the middle of your embrace, you start smelling smoke. What the fuck?
While this is happening, once I realize that this will probably be wafting somewhere else, I will quickly take off my shirt and a couple other things to give a weird perception, and then continue with trying to stop the fire.
Oh, God. All right. Well, Lincoln is going to just wait here, and he's going to run out into the hallway and just try to find the direction from where the smoke or the smell of smoke is coming from.
Okay, as you kind of head outside, Mahar kind of like sits in the doorway. As like you make your way out, she kind of catches that something's going on. She's still staying in the vicinity, but she's like keeping an eye out. You make your way into the hallway, and you can't quite catch any smoke coming from anywhere, but you can identify it coming from this one room.
The scent of it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Lincoln will just go to the door, and not knowing whose room it is, he's just going to politely knock. Excuse me. Is everything okay in there?
You hear the knock and then sound, Lucian.
I say, well, and that's going to be kind of that's what he wants it to sound like, but it's going to sound more like, well, as he's trying to put things out. Oh, hold on. Let me, I would like to roll a performance check, just personally, to see how well I'm taking this fire down. 15, okay. Alright, I'm fine. Oh yes, everything's fine. I'm just, enjoying myself.
Lincoln very slowly backs away from the door.
The smoke begins to diminish, and like whatever threat might have been there is clearly neutralized, I guess.
Good night. And he's just going to return to the bedroom.
Good night.
Mahar and you, Joy, go back to the room. And as you shut the door, you hear these like fussy steps, and what is that smell? Oh my gosh! And like just this individual, you can hear Vladimir kind of pacing around and trying to sniff it out. And eventually the smell dissipates to the point where he's no longer alarmed, just peeved, and kind of goes down. These nights get weirder and weirder every time. Eventually goes downstairs. Anything else anyone is doing for the night?
I will simply be jotting down in my journal the maladies and afflictions that the party came across on the journey with the reverse. I always forget what that creature was called. Sorry, Cal. What was it called? The Sturge.
Sturge with the
Yeah.
T. Yeah.
Sturge. Yeah, and he'll just be jotting that down, the medical maladies and whatnot.
Okay.
Keeping
Absolutely.
his journals up to date.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Man in the field. All right. So, as you all begin to fall asleep for the evening, Lucian, you begin to hear a muffled voice. Blackness entirely around you. And you can hear laughter. It's youthful. And as you ponder it, this image flashes before you. And you can see this beautiful elven woman with long black hair that's slightly wavy, this kind of medium toned skin, adorned in these beautiful robes, who seems to be practicing magic. And you can see her pointing at a target in the distance and whispering a few words on her breath that you can't quite hear. Fire erupting, and then a like coalesced energetic bolt that shoots out towards the same. You get flashes of these images, different settings, different ages, until finally you recognize this woman as your mother. And you see many others around her, many others practicing the same arcane arts. And another individual that looks vaguely familiar, who seems to be something of a best friend to her. You can see this individual has this kind of blonde, red, and purple streaked hair with purple and gold flecked eyes. You can see her ears are a little bit more pointed than most, and her features are both alien and beautiful at the same time. The two of them seem to constantly be enjoying each other, and as they grow older, you see this kind of flashes of conflict with the rest of society, the rest of these other elves in the city. And eventually they leave. You're kind of left in this magical woodland city, watching these two people, one of whom you recognize, go off in the distance. What would you like to do?
I just kind of stagger forward and hand outstretched, begin to walk after her and this other person. Not quite sure what's happening or what's going on.
You walk forward, chasing them, and the magical forests dwindle and turn into a plains. Then they turn into an ocean. They're aboard of a ship. And finally, reaching this frozen land. And as they both continue to age, the resemblance to the appearance that you knew your mother to take becomes more apparent. And the individual next to her begins to resemble more and more Gethel Beatrix. And they share laughter and moments together by the fireside. And then you meet the eyes of your mother. And then Gethel's turn to meet yours. You can learn, your mother says to you.
But I know nothing of this. This isn't natural, not... Is it?
It is as natural as the blood within you. You are of mine.
Blood is sometimes a curse.
And sometimes it's a blessing.
What does it make it if it's both?
Well, then you carve your own path. And you make of it what you can.
But what do I do with it?
She looks to you, then she looks to her friend. And though Gethel does not seem to engage with you in the same way that your mother does, there is a willingness to her eyes. And your mother comes over and grabs your hand. Do you allow her to take you?
Yeah.
Okay. She pulls you close, and she takes Gethel's hand and puts them together. She can teach you.
Okay.
She releases your hands, and as you do, the dream begins to unfurl like threads slipping away out of a tapestry, unwinding and unweaving themselves.
Lucian reaches out as he falls back and fades away, just staring at his mother's face.
As the darkness takes you, we go over to Zunrith. Clutching the pendant to your chest, you find maybe the most restful sleep you've had. Peaceful, quiet. And then this slightly irritating ring begins to resound in your dreams. For you, this red landscape stretches out, not in a violent way, but in a soft sort of glow. You can see little beads of white, almost like fireflies, dancing through this red smoke-like space. And you see a vague human-esque figure in the distance. What would you like to do?
Just look around for a little bit. And then start to walk over. Very, very cautiously.
Okay. As you do, the figure becomes clearer and clearer. You can see their caramel-toned skin kind of lighting with this red light that seems to come from all directions. Their vibrant scarlet hair stretching out and curling in every which way, floating as if it's in water. They look towards you with one eyebrow completely gone and one very, very thin, with exaggerated eyes and a little bit of an odd complexion. Well, welcome. You finally reached out. I didn't have to come to you this time.
Is this a dream?
Yes and no. It is an experience. Transcends dream, but doesn't quite escape it.
Look, I'm just looking for answers.
I'm aware you're looking for answers.
Okay, so if you could just give me the answers, then we could be on our merry way.
What answers are you looking for? Just because I know you're looking for something doesn't mean I know what you're looking for. Explain it. Put it in your own words.
You're quite literally a god.
Eh. Yeah, but I like to think of myself more as a coach.
Well, I don't really want to play a game, so to speak, so if you could just give me the answers and I will be on my way.
Life is nothing but a game, or life is not a game at all.
Look, no more riddles. Can we just... I just want to go back.
Back where?
You're very well aware of where I want to go. You're a god. I'm not playing these tricksy games with you on some whim.
But do you really want to go back there, and why?
Because I want answers. Answers to why.
He just kind of looks at you, waiting.
Anyway, if we could very much do this transaction and just get it over with, I think that would be the quickest and easiest route.
Transaction?
Yes, I do the religious thing, I'm guessing, and you do the giving me of information, and then
The power you get that echoes mine is not mine to give you, it's yours to create. There is no transaction.
right. You're pulling my leg. You're funny.
Not directly. You gain power from adhering to certain, shall we say, morals.
Are they your morals? Are they yours, perchance?
I think there are some ways in which we are similar.
I view absolutely no ways that we are similar at all. I mean, just based on appearance alone.
Well, appearances can be deceiving. Maybe you're not so different as you think. Just an idea. Anywho, I'll have someone drop off a little pamphlet.
You really are pulling my chain.
I'd like to have my own chain pulled sometimes. That came out wrong.
Okay, is there a moment where I wake up from this and I just am able to exit my trance?
As soon as you say that, there are dark tendrils that begin to weave themselves into this red landscape. They begin to twist, and you feel this strange sense of disconnection. And though you still see this figure, their image is flashing in and out of focus. The more you look around, the more the red takes on a deep blood crimson color that becomes discolored. There are bits and pieces that float and behave differently. I would like everybody else to make a perception check, as you all have been asleep for around 3 or 4 hours.
11.
Is Lucian banging chickens again? And that's what's
17.
happening? Or...
Yes.
15.
15 and 17, two highest, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Lucian and August, both of you wake up to the sound of a body thrashing and throbbing, just like seizing. You can hear like things clattering to the floor, lamps landing. You can hear bedposts kind of cracking and crunching from exposure to an enormous amount of force. And the more you listen to it, you realize it's coming from Zunuth's room.
Lucian grabs his longsword unsheathed and bolts to it, still wearing
Nothing.
nothing.
Well, in that case, I'm glad that Solanine had pushed the dresser in front of the door, so it's going to take me a few minutes to get outside.
Okay. All right, so you get up and begin to try and push the wardrobe aside. Go ahead and let's see an athletics roll.
Oh boy. Can we move that dresser?
Ayo.
14.
14! For whatever reason, you feel it's like the perfect amount of REM cycles to where like you're like, all right, I'm strong enough to do something. And you begin to push the wardrobe aside. And as you do so, it makes enough noise to where Solanine kind of wakes up. August, what are you doing?
What am I doing?
You can like, and you can still hear like the thrashing in the room next door. She's like,
Well,
what the fuck?
yeah, I think it's coming from Zoomrith's room.
The grumpy drow?
Yeah, that's kind of why I'm double thinking. Just going back to bed.
Well, does he have a history of medical maladies?
Fuck if I know. He's just an asshole.
Ugh. Maybe I can help. That is if you want to help. I'm not going to put effort towards this if you aren't.
No, that's the current debate, is whether I'm going to go help or not. I mean, somebody
Meanwhile-
else probably heard it, right?
You're having this conversation. Lucian, you go to the door. It is locked, I assume, correct, Zunrith?
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Kick
you...
the door in.
Okay, go ahead and give me an athletics check.
18.
Okay. As you like take a mighty foot to the door, you just splinter and crack around the lock. And as you kind of burst the door open, you can see like the lock is just still kind of stuck in the side of the door, and it like and falls on the ground. You can hear, "What the hell is going on?" from the door down the hall. You make your way into the room. At this point,
I owe this
Lincoln
guy so
and
much
Yorick
money.
wake up. You can hear this shout from down the hall, and you can hear this splintering of a door. August, you also hear this door go in. So, Yorick and Lincoln, immediate courses of action. What are you doing?
I will grab my crossbow and I will get out of my room and see what the hell is going on.
All right.
Lincoln's just gonna assume that it's Lucian who's enjoying himself some more, and he's just gonna be like, "Oh shit," and he's just going to stay in bed.
Okay. Mahar kind of cuddled up to you, just kind of like doesn't, and just falls back asleep.
He's cuddling with Mahar. He has bigger priorities right now.
All right, so Yorick, you make your way over to the door. Or you get your crossbow, make your way over to the door. Lucian, what are you doing? You see Zunrith kind of like spazzing out on the floor with a little bit of foam coming out of the mouth. You can see some of the veins have like discolored. Some of them are darker, but some of them are also like glowing. It's a very odd sight.
I'm gonna rack my brain really quick. Medical, I know. I mean, I've read books. I don't know too much, so I'm not proficient in anything. But I mean, I know what's happening. But let's think about what the glowiness is. Yeah, we'll do that. 18 Arcana. Okay.
All right. You've heard about wild magic before. It's very, very unknown topic of magic. However, sometimes you've heard your mother in particular speak of it when you were exceptionally young. Sometimes different chemicals, different magical substances can be combined to create unexpected effects. Could be a combination of that could have happened here. I believe you didn't see Zunrith get smacked with a bunch of vials in the prison, so you wouldn't be able to put that together. But
I'll just I know that his veins are popping out though, like they're
Yes.
black and popping out. Okay,
Yes.
so what I'm going to do, and this sounds nuts, but I'm going to go down to his body. I'm not going to hold him. I'm going to make a small cut against one of those, and then kind of focus my hand towards it. and I'm gonna use shape water
Okay.
if I can, because I don't know if like. Hold on, I don't
You're
know.
gonna
I don't know
try to. You're gonna try to do
really quick.
something magical. You're gonna try to do
Yes,
something
I'm gonna
magical.
Try to do
Yeah.
something magical.
Okay.
And I'm gonna see if like maybe I can get something that's not supposed to be there out. I
Mhm.
don't. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't really know how this works. So
Give an Arcana
think-
check.
yeah.
Let's see an Arcana check here.
10.
10. You begin to try and like use the magic that you've recently found, channeling the thoughts of your mother. And as you do so, you can see that you are beginning to shift the blood. However, it's kind of like going back and forth in ways that you don't expect it to react. You also see like some of the like discolored bits are like welling up almost. Zunrith, you begin to yell in your sleep, and go ahead and give me your first Constitution saving throw here.
Oh boy. Okay, that's not terrible. 14.
Okay. You wake up and you can see your veins, and you can see this one particular spot where Lucian seems to be trying to like do something, medicate you or somehow. And you're just like seeing the world, like your vision is blurry. You can see like multiple spots in your vision are like those black dots where you just nothing is there. And as your eyes kind of mechanically try to adjust to the spot, what would you like to do?
Definitely gonna like immediately just like try and back away from everything and everyone, including man with thing around my neck. Just shove away.
All right.
Or around my body in general.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, you're alive. Good. I'm gonna call for Yorick. Yorick, I need you.
I'm right here.
Oh.
Why are you? What happened here?
Why are you in my room? Why is my door kicked down?
You begin to feel this excruciating pain just well up in your body. And you can't help but like let your body physically react to it.
Ugh.
Yorick, Zunrith, you are sick. I'm here. I'm gonna get my things, and I rush off to the room. I grab my alchemist supplies and some of my other tools real quick, and I come back.
Yeah.
Just like, I am going to check you because something is very wrong with you.
All right.
And
Go ahead and take an
I heard-
immediate action.
I heard him thrashing around and unconscious and foaming and.
that is a 19 for medicine.
Okay. As you begin to examine him, and his body, though it is moving, you're able to catch up on a few details. Looks like his body's been exposed to a number of chemicals with various different properties, and the body is having an interesting reaction. You don't have a lot of time to really glean a ton of details. Something magical as well as biological is going on here. Is about the best you can glean right now.
We need to get this poison out of you as fast as possible. And
How
he's
can I
just
help?
gonna start reaching into his bag, and he's gonna start drawing out some supplies. They look like herbs and other various medicines, and a syringe. He's gonna be like, okay, see where I see your discolored blood there. I'm gonna pull a sample of that real quick. And he just pulls out a syringe, and he's gonna try to create an anti-venom
Okay.
real quick, or a cure with the supplies that he has.
Okay. You begin to
wear
jump around.
gloves. Better put on
there's
your
no gloves
doctor's
here.
gloves.
There's no gloves here.
Ooh, no, Zunra's not gonna like that.
You begin to pull the blood from his body, perhaps with Zunrith's eyes just glaring menacingly. Meanwhile, August and Solon, you can hear like a little bit of the conversation next door, but again, this place is really well like sound dead. She like is looking at the wardrobe with you. Are we doing this thing?
I mean, honestly, I don't really hear anything anymore.
Yeah, I really haven't heard much. This is a really quiet inn. This is really unusual.
Or it's just nothing's wrong, so we can just go back to sleep.
Well, maybe you know better in the situation than I do.
Yeah, I think we'll just go back to sleep.
Fair enough. Kind of walks over to her bed. Do you remember the stories we used to read?
Yes?
We should do that again sometime.
Well, we'd probably have to find a bookstore first. I don't think this town has one.
I haven't read a book from cover to cover in so long.
Hey, I do it quite frequently, I guess, when it's available. Nice little escape.
Should find a library.
Yeah, not sure there's gonna be one here, though.
Well, it's a port town. I'm sure we could find a ship to take us somewhere. Glass clatters in the background.
Guess we just have to decide where.
Yeah. Agreed. Well, I guess we'll go back to sleep. Good
I
night.
think that sounds much better than doing anything else
Is there any more wine
with
left?
them. No.
All right. She kind of curls up in her bed. Meanwhile,
I'll just flop onto mine.
The smell of smoked chicken is wafting off of Lucian.
Ugh.
all right. So, Zunarith, Lucian, and Yorick. Yorick, you begin to pull the blood out, and what are you trying to do? You're creating an
going to try to use my alchemy supplies and try to, and I have several reagents basically, and I'm just going to try to find one that reacts and seems to kill off any of the reacts with it to basically kill off the poison that's in it.
Sort of like make an antidote.
Yeah, absolutely. As you do so, you draw the blood and you begin to create this practice. Go ahead and give me a medicine check.
Yeah, choose a different die.
Combine these reagents into some kind of healing.
That is a
Substance?
16.
You begin to create something, muddling a couple of herbs and creating a certain salve. You go to apply it, and it seems to calm down the area. And Zunarith, in full wake, your eyes kind of flash, and all of a sudden, the dreamscape kind of merges with the real world, and you can see like a faint red smoke, and a sort of red, slightly translucent avatar of the individual you met, just kind of sitting there. You want more help?
Muted.
Zunreth is just dumbstruck. He's got no words right now. He's just like, this is the weirdest thing that has ever happened to him.
Okay.
Do I see any positive feedback after giving Zumrith that treatment?
You do. However, it is shortly after the application you realize that this is not just a single substance in his body. And
Okay.
this is going to be a process.
I will immediately don some gloves.
Okay.
And I will reach into my bag and I will pull out some of my ointment that I have.
Okay. What is this
And
ointment?
This is the, let me get the name for it. This is the restorative ointment. When applied, the creature regains 2d8 hit points, is cured of poisoned and any diseases that they are currently afflicted with.
Okay. Describe how you want to apply this ointment.
I take this and I will take the ointment as I thin it out into a solution and I dilute it enough, and then I will inject it into him as well.
Okay.
A shot, basically, that will get inside.
What
Thank
color is this
God.
ointment?
It is actually just a very nice, white, very clean-looking ointment.
Okay. You
Thank God Zura's tripping balls right now.
you inject this ointment and you begin to see almost visibly this white liquid that travels and almost glows throughout the body. Zunrith, to you, as this goes into your body, the red figure lays a hand over the space where the syringe is inserted into your body. It says, "Your friend is the reason you survive. Do you want to thrive?"
Muted.
Yes.
And you feel this tingling sensation as he lifts the finger off. The white liquid travels through the body, clearing up all these discolored blood vessels. And Zunrith's health seems to return to normal, as far as you can tell. The body stops shaking. There is a peace that comes about.
I hate having to break into that stuff.
Tap on his face a little bit. You alright? You're fine? Yes? He muted.
Please don't touch me.
Well, if nothing else, you seem like you can use a drink, and I'll pull
No
wine out from
alcohol.
anywhere.
No.
Fine, one for me then.
I am quite all right. Though I will need to disinfect this area probably very heavily.
This area was just hit with some of the most with magical.
You had no gloves! What barbarian of a doctor are you?
The one who didn't have time at the moment, and I donned gloves once I had to put that ointment on you.
He's like just scrubbing his face. Leave!
Lucian stands up, kind of puts his blade on his shoulders. It cuts into his shoulder a little bit, not wincing or anything about it.
And you can't even close my door anymore!
At this point, Vladimir kind of like comes to the door, looks in at all of you, seething. "What have you done to
First of all-
my room?"
First of all, it was an emergency, and this needed to happen. I apologize.
Medical emergency.
This-
Our friend was having a severe medical malady.
This has nothing to do with the situation, as I gestured to myself. This just happened to be. I had to rush in.
Do you know how expensive these fucking doors are?
I would
Zuna's
what
just
would
gonna
it-
point at Lucian, just his fault.
My fault. Yes, my fault.
You
Appraisal
will
check on the door.
pay for damages.
Oh, I'm sure that I will. And again, I very much appreciate your services and your ability to tolerate myself as well as this entire situation. You have been a most wonderful and charming provider of services.
Please get out of my room.
Smart talk
Please.
only gets you so far.
I find it best to be humble and appreciative of what I have.
I will hunt you down if you do not leave a substantial amount of gold to accommodate the damages and my sanity. Understood.
I'll walk towards him and let me talk to you in private. And kind of walk away.
Zunrath is going to close his door, except that it will not close. So he just kind of like just leaves it hanging open and just
Yorick's still in the room.
get out!
Are you all right?
Out!
Fine. And he just starts packing up his things, starts putting everything away. Just be like, "You're welcome." And he just walks away.
Vladimir follows Lucian down the hall. What is this about?
That man was inflicted with some sort of disease and curse. This is a situation that needed to be handled properly, otherwise someone could have died in your inn. And what type of reputation would you have because of that?
I can't come up with a good reason to suggest that your action was bad, other than that you ruined the door. Pay for the door.
I fully plan on paying for the door. I just want you to understand that this absolute crisis the situation was in. And I fully accept the fault and responsibility. You've been a most gracious host. After all, you've put up with my ridiculous requests. And as we both know, you said you have seen very strange things here. Perhaps this not being the worst of it.
Fine. That is fair. I will see you in the morning. No talk of this. Outside.
Of course.
Good night.
Slight bow.
He rolls his eyes as he walks away. Privileged.
And I'll kind of walk back to my room. I just think, well, I haven't had to do that in a while. And then I'll just kind of tap on August's door with my sword hilt.
You hear a knock through the wardrobe. It's at the door.
What?
You alive?
Yes.
Good. Good night.
Good night.
Solenin kind of
Then I'll go to my room.
night next to you. So, you all go to sleep. Finally, again. You get your full rest. Most of you are probably waking up a bit later than normal, but nothing too abnormal. The day lies in front of you. You can hear quite a bit of chatter happening downstairs. People seem to be discussing what might have happened with all the noises the night before. Can't quite hear anything yet because you all are upstairs, but what would you all like to do?
I will be downstairs pretty much bright and early, and I will be just jotting through my notes, everything that happened, and just trying to figure out what the hell was wrong with Zoomrith.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Lucian will be crafting as he takes a dagger and puts several scratches on him. And goes down the stairs, not wearing a shirt, into the crowd of people.
Okay. What is everyone else doing? I need a full picture here.
Yeah. When Lincoln leaves the room, does he see what, aside from maybe the door being off its hinges with Zoonrith, is there any other evidence of the shenanigans that happened last night? Is it readily visible?
I mean, there's like, I would say maybe there's like some boot marks on the ground that aren't like super obvious, but not super well hidden either. I mean, you can see the door. I imagine Zoonrith is getting up pretty quickly, making sure people don't come messing with him in the morning, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. He'll just if Mahar's waking up with him, then yeah, he would just go downstairs and order a decent breakfast and pay for it, and basically pay for everyone, so everyone has food first thing in the morning.
For sure.
Because he has no idea about any of the other damage that happened. So he's like, oh yeah, I'll just order breakfast for everyone.
Okay. You're able to do so. The waitstaff is, this is a very well-staffed morning here. Very, very competent, experienced people running the shop here. But you find your food, you're able to provide it to those who are already downstairs, perhaps, handing a donut or a bagel to Yorick as he pours over his notes. Lucian, you head down. August, I assume you and Solanine are taking some time to move the wardrobe.
Well, yes, we would have to move the wardrobe, but the original plan was to go down for dinner.
Oh,
Or lunch.
lunch. Okay, so just
For
stay.
breakfast?
How
How
it would
late
be.
did we sleep in? Is my question.
It would probably be around like 10, I imagine.
Brunch then.
Yeah, so kind of a midway between.
Brunch.
I had planned to move the wardrobe and go down to eat.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Solanine and you assist in that. As you kind of get the wardrobe aside, you walk out and you see Lucian down the hall. Zunrith, do you imagine yourself up at this point?
Yeah, he's definitely awake, but he's just taking a good minute or like hour or so to himself in his room.
Absolutely.
Just contemplating. Yeah, he's gonna do that for a little bit before eventually going down and seeing what is happening downstairs.
Okay.
As Lucian descends, he's going to be creating a spectacle.
You mean walking down with your shirt off isn't enough?
And cut up, yes. As he walks down the stairs, the crowd of people who are kind of whispering and talking about all the noises and stuff last night, right? Is Vladimir there?
Make a perception check. It is very busy. There's lots of bodies. August, you watch kind of Lucian from the back as he goes downstairs.
Oh, fucking hell.
And I'll kind of lean down and shake my head. And I say, "Good morning, everyone. if I could have your attention.
I'm walking
like-
faster.
I bury
Yeah.
my head in a book.
Yeah, Lincoln is pretty much covering his face like this.
You like go downstairs and immediately like you can sense that like your presence, people are like, what the fuck in the nearby, and then as soon as you like call out to everyone, there's just this
The proprietor of this inn is a hero. He saved my life last night and one of my companions. From me, a fiery beast in my room, and my companion cursed by some sort of demon. It was only through his help and the willingness to destroy his own property, the sheer commitment to his customers and the well-being, that we were able to survive the night last night. I cannot express how amazing this man is, and that we should all be thankful for his proprietorship.
Can I hear this because of the broken door, or
oh yeah. Yeah,
I
you can
still-
hear this from
oh,
downstairs.
no.
It's a little muffled, but you can tell what he's saying. The immediate
no.
response of the crowd, you hear like a good quarter of them go, yeah, right. Oh my god. Was Vladimir really up to doing crazy shit again? And like,
Can Lincoln insight?
Lucian?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Lucian, go ahead and give me a deception check. We'll see how the remaining crowd
Got a natural 20, by the
receives
way.
your message.
Okay.
you know
He's lying. He's
20.
lying. He's lying
20.
really well, but he's lying.
Yeah.
The naysayers are kind of over in a corner, and they're all kind of like old, the kind of crotchety types, and they're like, they clearly have come to this tavern a number of times and are probably really familiar with like the general ongoings of the place, and they're like, right, that's exactly what happened. And they're just like muttering over. The rest of the crowd, you can catch like maybe a good third of them are like, that seems unlikely, but maybe it's true. And there are like the handful of like 5 or 6 individuals who are like looking at you like, oh my god, he's a survivor. Just taking you utterly seriously.
This worked out so well.
I just mage hand a message over to Lucian that I just drew up real quick. And he'll see on it that it says, diagnosis shit in mouth, 20 gold for removal.
Yeah,
Oh,
knowing
glance
that,
over Wraith's eyebrow.
yeah, knowing that Lucian's lying, Lincoln's not going to say anything, but it's one of those, yeah, I'm gonna have to get the actual truth from him later.
I'm gonna put on my shirt, which I was carrying down with me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll put
thank
on-
God.
Yeah. No, I'm not. Oh. Good morning, sister.
Sorry, I didn't know you had such a harrowing experience last night.
Well, I did check to see if you were alive, and you were probably busy, so...
Solanine comes
Sleeping?
over and like looks at you like, are you fucking okay?
He's full of shit, is what he is.
Yes,
Oh.
I've made that diagnosis.
It doesn't take a doctor to make that one.
Yes, but I believe in his case it's fatal.
Quite
Well.
possibly.
Listen, August, you know exactly how to work a crowd, as do I. Speeches are something we give. So, in order
Speeches
for us-
are your thing.
well, maybe. But you know how to word things correctly. I'm simply trying to make our lives a little easier. And by extension, our lives, I mean mostly mine. Because he hasn't been to my room yet.
What
Yeah,
did you
that's-
do to your room?
You said you were
What?
enjoying yourself last night.
Oh, yes.
What did you do to your room?
You know how I accidentally well, there's no need for the details.
Conjured
Actually.
fire the other day.
Yeah, that's true. I don't want to. I don't know if I want to know.
You
I'm fine
probably
with
don't.
knowing.
Meanwhile,
But anyway,
you all begin your morning gathering. Meanwhile, Zunrith, you spend an hour kind of on your lonesome, pondering things. What are your trinkets?
We never got them back.
That's true.
Because I did not tell them to get them back. But my trinkets were a winter coat, a pendant, a moon-shaped pendant, and a glass jar filled with lard labeled griffin grease.
Okay. So, the pendant that you currently have, in the morning, it begins to glow a little bit. And you feel this adrenaline-like surge throughout your body. And you realized that some of the residual effects of the chemicals are transformed, manifesting in some kind of transformation. You have time to think about this, but you gain a sort of modification to your body somewhere. It can be something like a horn. It can be like a few scales erupting, but there is a visible sign of transmutation on your body.
You're muted.
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
We can come back to you. You have kind of an hour as you realize that this power is going to this power isn't going to slip away, but it is going to manifest in a time, and you have the chance now to direct it. So we can go back to the other scene and let you kind of think about it for a bit. Okay.
So I noticed that Zunrith's door was knocked off his hinges. Does anyone know what that had to do? What happened last night with him?
Well,
That's what I'm
Yes.
still
you
trying to
heard the
figure out.
story.
Please. I'm making our lives easier. In truth, I broke the door down.
What? Oh,
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I said, what? No.
Oh, was it the splinter in my foot? Oh wait, I'm still wearing boots. Oh, Zunrith was in trouble. I feared he was being attacked again, so...
So you heroically broke down the door.
There was nothing heroic about it. Would you not do it yourself?
No, I wouldn't. I didn't.
And why wouldn't you?
It's not really my business, is it?
I'm asking... You mean my business? Because I'm asking why it wasn't your business.
Because it wasn't happening to me or you.
But still a person.
Zunrith.
I get your
What?
sentiment at the very least. Believe me, I've saved a few people's lives, and I would have sooner just kind of let them suffer. You do what you can to help them. You don't get a pick.
Seems like
So,
in that moment you do get to pick.
I could. It's better not to, though.
as you all continue having your breakfast, eventually, Zunrith joins you. Zunrith, what has manifested, and are you hiding it?
Definitely going to try to hide it. I imagine not much has really changed openly, except maybe like some kind of almost like darkened colorations in like crescent moons, just from the point of wherever on his, or I guess kind of like on the outline of his hairline,
Okay.
and like down to his lips and chin, just a little set in, almost like it's like a thin layer of makeup or something, or like a worn out tattoo.
Yeah.
But he's definitely like combed his hair actually for the first time in a very long time, and like tried to like cover over a lot of it.
You spend some time in front of the mirror, and you're able to cover it, but it definitely is still there. You also feel physically the best you've ever felt. Like, very much, I could go climb a mountain. I don't want to, necessarily, but I could go do it in a day and, like, still have energy, kind of deal. And you will get a story featured at the end of this episode.
Okay. Yeah, he's definitely also going to ignore the entire rest of the party sitting at a table, and is just going to go straight to the bar to get like some juice and whatnot. He had his door knocked in, like not the, he feels great but not happy.
Okay. As you all are enjoying your juice, your breakfast, and other things, I would like everyone to give me a perception check.
18.
Natural 20.
Ooh, dirty 20.
That was very nice.
18.
A natural 19 for 24.
And Lincoln,
What
what
do
was
we
yours?
all see?
Lincoln, what was yours?
18.
Damn. Okay. All of
What's my
you
up?
notice this. Almost instinctively, you all enjoy your food, but occasionally glance over to see two individuals cloaked in different parts of the room that at different points you guys realize are kind of staring your party down a little bit. One seems to be in a dark brown cloak, and the other one seems to be in a dark green cloak. The brown cloak one is nearing... Check my prep here. The brown cloak is nearing 5'10", a pretty standard height for a human or maybe even a half-elf. The other one, the dark green cloak, is about 4 feet tall. As you guys spot them at different points, the green cloak seems not to have noticed that you have realized they are there. But the brown cloak begins to kind of get up and move to leave the tavern. What would you all like to do?
Put up my hood immediately. Try and make myself as subdued in the crowd as possible.
Okay, just disappear.
Yeah.
You notice that someone seems interested in us.
Should we go ask why?
I think that would be appropriate. I'll figure. Lincoln, sorry. Would
Either
you,
one is fine.
Would you, go block the door, please?
Sure. He will go over to the front door, and he won't physically stand right in front of it, but he'll kind of stand near the doorknob, so if he needs to quickly like move in front of it or like block, then he'll be available.
Mhm.
How do you want to
I'll
do
just
this?
start
Me
packing
first?
up
You
my
first.
books and all my supplies.
Oh,
Just kind
by
of-
all means, dear brother.
Is the green cloak still looking at us, or is he trying to be indiscreet? Not green cloak, brown cloak. Is he still looking at us, or are they trying to be indiscreet?
The brown
Or
cloak
decent.
is discreet and is leaving. The green cloak is still
Great, green
there
cloak.
and seems to just be staking out.
Has the brown cloak one left yet?
I would say the brown cloak has reached the door by the time you all have had kind of a little bit of a conversation.
I
Xenrith,
would
you've tried
like
to disappear.
I would like to cast Mage Hand and pull his hood down, the brown cloak's hood.
Okay. There's a lot of unmasking in this campaign. As you
Figurative and literal.
cast Mage Hand, why don't you? What color is your Mage Hand? How does it appear?
It appears just as a very simple black hand that
Okay.
appears.
Okay.
Just with a little claw-like almost, and it just reaches and tries to pull the cloak off their head.
Okay. As soon as you reach out with the spell, pull the hood back, you hear a kid's voice in the distance. Whoa! And the hood begins to pull back, and the individual tries to snatch it up. You all can roll a perception check to see what you catch of them before they get their hood up.
Ooh, natural 20 for 21.
Ooh,
Damn!
4.
13.
Also a natural 20 for 25.
Oh,
Okay, wait, what was August's?
19.
19. Okay. So, August,
Never
Lincoln,
got
and
Lucian.
Zunrith. Lucian is a 4. Sad. Yorick's yours was like 13, right?
mm-hmm.
Okay.
13.
August, Zunrith, and Lincoln, as you kind of zero in on this individual, you see that there is short ginger hair that seems to be a style that August you would recognize as common in Ugnut. The two of you, on the other hand, recognize that this individual seems to have micro cuts along the back of their neck that you just barely catch a glimpse of, but your natural 20 is zeroing in. Looks surgical.
Okay. Yeah, Lincoln is not going to pursue this person, but he's going to wait until after they step out, and then he's going to head to the door and kind of fold his arms, leaning against the wall right next to it.
Ready?
Oh,
This
yes,
still
on
person-
your count.
Great! I'll be very loud and audible. Walk up. Oh, Gareth, good friend, is that you? I'll put my arm over his shoulder. I have the good stuff upstairs. Why don't you come with me? And then I'll whisper in his ear, if you value your life, you'll follow us upstairs.
Are you sure?
Insight, please?
You may roll an insight, but that's where we'll break.
So who was it that Lucian approached again?
The brown cloak. The 5'10 brown cloak, ginger hair, in an Ugnosian style. I don't know if that's the right way to say that, but we will see you all
No.
soon.
I thought, yeah.
And we're back. So, just to
Back.
clarify a few things, I misunderstood. They did not go after the brown cloak. They went after the green cloak. My bad, misunderstood. So, you go over to that. They are not ginger. You go over and sit at the table, and you sit down next to this shorter individual. What do you say again?
Oh, Gareth, it's my good friend. Good to see you again. Actually, I have the merchandise upstairs if you want to come with me. If you want to live, you'll come with us now.
In a familiar voice, you hear, "Oh, all right."
Okay.
I think Lincoln is too far away to hear that voice. He's at the door.
I should be with Yorick and like, Gethel.
You look in, like, you just see this gnome just aghast. We met before. Rhaegar. Fuck. Come on. And just kind of like follows Lucian leading himself upstairs. Just kind of like follows you all. I assume everyone is going to some room.
I'm actually going after the brown cloak.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Lincoln looks to August. Did you want me to come with you?
Oh, I ignore you if you're trying to talk to me. I was going straight for the brown cloak.
Eyes on the
Okay.
prize. So what are you doing,
All right.
Lincoln?
Yeah.
As August just walks by him, ignoring him. Okay, I guess she doesn't want me to go with her. He'll look over to Lucian for an indication of where he wants him to go.
I'll just go. I'll just do that, the head nod towards the open door.
I will, as August is leaving, I will just give her. I will try to give her a potion. If I have to mage hand it to her, I will. I'll just tell her it's a potion of speed, make you quicker.
Okay.
As Lincoln steps out the door behind August, he is going to cast Disguise Self and make himself look like the green cloaked individual and follow behind August.
Okay. Ooh, excellent. Mask of many faces. I like it.
Yep.
Nice.
So the two of you go off that direction. August, do you take the potion?
No.
Okay. You just keep it on your person, ready to go.
Yep.
Lucian, you head upstairs. Yorick, you head upstairs.
Yes, I will go with Lucian.
Okay. And Zunrith, what are you doing?
Zunreth has not met this person before, I'm guessing, or I don't know if they went even in the store, but will follow upstairs since it seems like the other person is taken care of.
Okay. Sounds good.
But he's not gonna go in the room with Lucian. He's just going to wait outside and just
Observe.
listen.
Okay.
Yeah.
For sure. Lucian, Lucian and Yorick, a fellow gnome, take this individual inside. Rhaegar sits in front of you and is like, the mistress will be so glad to hear you all are still alive.
Riga, why are you here?
Oh, collecting information. Duh.
Why?
Stay connected. Stay aware. For the mistress.
Why are you following us then? As far as I know, she owes us.
First of all, I am not following you. Don't flatter yourselves. I was merely enjoying my morning cup of vodka, and you all came waltzing downstairs with your shirt off and a couple of fucking blood marks on your chest. Just saying. I
Right.
took interest.
I'll be honest, I don't like coincidence. I don't believe in it.
So, who was, friend?
What friend?
Oh, the friend who
I
came
have
in
friends?
It would seem you were followed then, at the very least.
with you. I'm gonna roll insight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, go
Yeah, if
for
I
it.
can hear this, I'll roll insight as
Natural
well.
20.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just have a crossbow laying on my lap, basically. It's probably almost as big as me, but
A natural 20 and
Yeah, the
Zunrith, what was
sad
yours?
part is it's a hand crossbow.
Natural 20.
That's a 16.
16. I just caught the hand across. Okay, moving on. The two of you, both have a feeling that Rhaegar doesn't glean much about the other person. Rhaegar is intelligent, seems a little oblivious. And Lucian, you would gather that he probably collected a bunch of factual details, but their interaction from his end was not necessarily significant. Just the things that that person might have said in their conversation and whatnot might be pertinent to what Mistress Vale might want to hear. You get kind of a real solid gleaning that he is incredibly socially awkward, doesn't take social cues, but he does take note of patterns and kind of relays them to be deciphered by other members of the Vale.
Right. So, why, what happened to the Vale?
We're still here.
Obviously.
Fragmented. Still working.
Heckin'. Yet you're still in contact with the mistress.
Of course. We all escaped the same way.
Then how are you fragmented?
Does the city still exist?
Some
He's just
people
been busy.
aren't with us anymore. They didn't survive the cold. Or the avalanche. Or the earthquake.
Is the city still there?
We don't know. We've sent scouts. They'll return to us within a day or two. If they survive.
At least 2 weeks since we... It's been nearly 2 weeks since we left. You haven't heard anything yet?
Look. Anyone who left was escaping with their lives. You really think we paid that much attention, or anyone with news was able to get out?
Okay.
Seems
So,
like a
where-
large ask.
So where are you reporting back to then? Your information that you have, where are you taking it?
Oh, I can't tell you that.
But of
Duh.
course you can.
Why?
Of course you can. Because
From the-
how is the mistress supposed to pay us back if we can't see her?
He thinks to himself for a bit.
What does she need to pay you for?
Oh, we did favors for favors, and yet she hasn't cashed in hers.
So you need to pay her.
No. She needs to pay us.
Make a persuasion check.
I'm kind of good at these. 16. Okay.
16.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Tell you what. I have a group of people I need more information on. You help me, and I will take you to the mistress.
Is Zunrith in the room?
No, just outside.
No, he's outside the room.
just listening in.
A modest proposal?
Is it going to take you away from Grindavir?
Oh, you're headed to Grendavir.
Didn't say that.
Different idea. Different idea.
I'm gonna look over at Yorick like,
York's just gonna have like the "I'm so sorry" face on, like.
He immediately like pounces on the subject and is just like,
There are growing, shall we say, conflicts between the Kingdom of Avalon and the Kingdom of Camelot. We would love to know more information about that.
I'm sure you would love to know more information about it, but how is that a solution to what we were asking?
Oh, well, the Mistress will reward you handsomely. Information about wars, conflict, all that stuff. Very interesting to her.
Right, so you should take us to her now and we can tell her ourselves that we'll more than happily give you her the information she's
No.
looking for.
No, I want the information first. We can visit this topic later.
Who are the people that you want to look at?
Oh, just in general. I don't care where you go. Just anything.
No. You just said before previous. Listen to me closely.
That deal is
Previous
off
deal.
the table. We've
Just
got a
hold on.
better idea.
There's nothing off the table because I cannot give you the information about Avalon or anything Camelot is doing if I don't know where to go because
But
I
if
don't
you're
think I
going
would be
there-
dragging you across the entire island.
Beat two birds with one stone.
Here's the thing. You're making me promise to do something in order for you to give me so you can give me something that I would only be able to do the first promise if you had given it to me in the first place. So what you're trying to do is capture me in a loop of favors, but I know your game. That's not going to happen. So either you want me to help the mistress or you don't, and if you are trying to sway me to not help the mistress, you're doing a very good job at that.
Zunrath
York's
lets out
even
the-
trying to like trace the paths.
Zunrath lets out the biggest groan of all time, just hearing all of that.
Someone's
Close the
listening
doorway.
in.
It's fine.
No, it's not.
It's Zunrith.
It's
he
just
pulls out a
Zoomer.
dagger and begins like creeping around
I
the corner.
slap him with my
Yes.
mage hand. I slap him with my mage hand.
That's uncalled for.
I
Yes, and
level my
your dagger's
crossbow and I'm like,
uncalled for.
sit down
Make a persuasion check.
now.
I'll give you advantage. Actually, intimidation. This is an intimidation check.
It's not that good. 6. Well, advantage. Sorry.
Yeah, you can take advantage. I'll let you take advantage here.
Well, you said advantage, I thought. No, it was I rolled a 6. And I don't have that good of charisma. Yeah.
Come back. It's just Zunrith. He's just watching the door for us.
Kind of like juts his head out and peeks. Looks back at you guys.
We're good.
Kind of goes back to his chair.
I very much appreciate you checking that. Anyway.
So Guinevere.
No. Think back to what I just said.
Something about favors. Circles.
Lucian is already owed a favor. He's not doing another favor just that way he can claim the favor he's already owed.
Okay, what do you want? I can't tell you where she is, but I can get something from her.
Get something from her. And how would you get it back to us?
I know where you are. For
Currently.
now. Well,
Currently.
then you best not move before I come back.
See, but that's the problem. You don't know where I'm going, where I might be.
Tell me where you going? I'll have it shipped.
But then you would have advantage, and I would owe you a favor.
Why would I? You're really confusing. How would
Listen,
you owe me a favor?
No, it's not that confusing. See, sit down. And this is going to continue. This is going to continue for a long time, just so I can stop him up and confuse the crap out of him.
Okay, why don't you give me a general charisma check? I'll give you advantage because this has been thoroughly hilarious.
Guidance.
Guidance? What's that guidance?
Zunreth
D4?
has like two
D4.
veins just pulsing. Just
With the white light, with, you know, the white.
So that's a 15 because of guidance.
Okay. 15.
I need a drink.
He goes and gets a drink. You've driven him to the point where he's real tired of this conversation, but he knows it's important. And he comes back with a drink, and we'll come back to you guys in a moment.
Great.
August and Lincoln. You guys make your way out into the city-ish, city-esque. Not really a full city, but you make your way out onto the road. You begin to catch the brown-cloaked individual just traveling to the central square.
Are they traveling at a casual pace?
They seem to be traveling at a slightly brisk pace.
I'm going to travel at a slightly brisker pace to overcome them.
Absolutely. Are you doing so from the shadows? Are you doing so just in the center of the street like you belong there? What are you doing? How are you approaching this?
Like the center of the street, like I belong there.
Okay, excellent. Why don't you
Like
give me...
I'm, you know, just walking briskly.
Okay. Why don't you give me a performance check with advantage? To just see if they catch you out of the corner of their eye.
22.
And if it means anything to them. Okay. There are a few times where you kind of almost fade behind them, making your way through the city. Doesn't seem to escalate them. You get within about 20 feet. Lincoln, how are you getting to the... what are you doing here?
He's trying to match the person in the brown cloak's pace, not to draw too much attention, and he doesn't want to look like he's following alongside August, but he also is basically looking like someone completely different, so he's hoping that by kind of matching the pace that he won't draw too much attention, just kind of eventually catching up.
Okay. Absolutely. Yeah, you make your way. Let's see this would also be a performance check, I think, here.
Advantage or no?
Yeah, you can take advantage. You do catch, we'll see how well you roll here, actually, before I say the next bit.
22 as well.
Okay. There are a few times where you walk by and, like, you can hear a little kid saying,
Didn't we just walk by him?
and, like, there's some confusion amongst a couple of children, but no one older and no one of political significance, shall we say.
Sure.
And you two travel along. Eventually, you both get within about 20 feet of this individual. August, just a hair closer. Would you guys like to do anything extra?
No, my goal is to overtake them.
Just overtake? Okay. You get to the point where you are able to reach out and grasp them physically. You're within melee reach of them. And they don't seem to have noticed you. What do you do?
I am going to do similar to Lucian, but just a little different. Slip my arm in like the crook of their arm and be like, Jessica, I love what you've done with your hair.
Immediately, stiffness goes over this individual, and you just sense this, who the fuck? And like, you look over, and you can see that this is very clearly a human, very like even just the underneath the cloak you can catch very Ugnaught attire. It very clearly at least presenting from that space. No one you recognize, but they kind of stand and they look at you and they walk with you for a bit and say, "Who the fuck are you?"
I was going to ask you the same question.
Just for additional context, Lincoln is he's hanging behind, giving
Okay.
them about a good 20 feet of privacy, but he's keeping an eye on what's going on.
Okay, absolutely. I
You were
Don't-
keeping a rather close eye on us back there.
look, I think your lot is attractive. That's all. Just saying.
Insight check.
Oh, absolutely. Fucking go for it.
I think
Real quick,
he's a
what's that?
liar.
Real quick,
Well?
was that a purposeful change of accent, Cal?
You don't know.
I wasn't sure if like you did it on purpose or not. Ignore me.
You'll find out. You'll find out. Okay, what was your roll?
12.
12. They don't seem to be lying, but they're not telling the whole truth either.
It's just so rare that I see someone from, my hometown here. What a coincidence.
People from all over visit this city. I really don't think it's that unusual for you to be dealing with, happened since meetings. There's no need to get your panties in a twist.
It would be really nice to keep this conversation as pleasant as it is right now.
If Lincoln can hear this, I
Okay.
know he's 20 feet away, but if there are any torches or lanterns like in the alleyway, he's going to cast thaumaturgy to kind of dim them for added effect for as August says this.
Okay. August, make an intimidation check. This is like a really nuanced intimidation check, and I'm here for it. It's with advantage because Lincoln's gonna grant you that ambiance.
19.
You sense a faltering in their steps, and it looks at you. You sense you wield the power. You can direct this person in a direction. You can take this moment to ask a pertinent question. You can do a number of things here, kind of wielding your power over the situation. But I need you to decide what you're doing.
Well, I'm just, I'm kind of just pleasantly steering them
Okay.
back around the way they came. And I'm going to say, no, really, why are you really here?
So you're taking them back to the inn.
Yep.
Okay. You begin walking back, and at this point, you can hear some, just kind of as background noises, there appears to have been a scuffle that's broken out in the square that looks like you were about to go into. But you avoid it by steering them away. Person kind of follows along, says, "Look, I don't mean any trouble. You should just leave me alone. That's all I want out of this situation." You can sense there's a fear, not just maybe from what you've done, but from something prior.
What's your name?
I'm not entirely sure. Triss?
You're not Triss?
Sure. It's nice enough.
Where are you
insight.
from?
You can make an insight check.
15? Does he really not know his name?
August? What's your... Are you
Oh,
inciting?
sure.
Okay.
I can, yeah. 18.
18. This person seems to be trying to pull something right now.
He's going to cast Thaumaturgy again, except do the opposite and have basically the lanterns, torches just kind of just increase in size and just glow very brightly as he's keeping his distance, but yeah.
Oh, you poor thing. We better take you back and get you some water, and maybe that'll help.
Okay. Tell you my name. My name is Kevin Scout. There, happy?
Okay, Kevin. Yeah. Where are you from, Kevin?
I'm from the seas. Spend most of my time in the waters. I don't like sharing a ton because I'm not exactly in the greatest position. Lincoln, give me a perception check. Only you.
Right. Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. You just meet the DC. As you look around, you chance catching this very obscured figure just kind of hanging out in a tree, and you can see that there is a little latched something to their wrist. They close their fist, and you can see something mechanical kind of shoot out, and you can see a hand crossbow unfold, pointed at the cloaked target.
He will say, he'll just yell out, "Look out!" He won't say August's name, but just, yeah,
August,
basically say, "Look out," and try to dive forward to try to get them to drop down.
you run a few steps trying to reach out towards them and push them to the ground. August, what are you doing in response?
So, as I understand it, he just screamed, "Look out," and ran towards us.
Yes.
But he doesn't look like himself.
No, he doesn't. He looks exactly like the person that you're talking to.
No, he looks like the Regar.
The green cloak.
Oh,
Yeah.
you look like... Okay, cool. Gotcha. Understood.
I guess I would be looking around to see what to look out for. That just seems like the immediate reaction most
Alright.
people would take.
Absolutely. As you
That's
kind of
fair.
spin around, Lincoln, why don't you take a dexterity saving throw?
Well, that's not good. That's a 10.
You reach out to try and push them out of the way, but as August kind of looks around, August, you catch this individual in the tree. You can see the bolt begins to shoot out towards this individual, and the bolt just kind of immediately sticks in. They're gonna get a little bit of a break. Ooh, okay. You can see that the bolt just immediately kind of sticks in the side close to the stomach, and the person begins to cough up blood next to you. There are people nearby who kind of look over like, what the fuck? What do you do?
I'm gonna try to get the person out of the line of fire.
Okay,
Kevin.
absolutely.
I'm gonna try to get Kevin out of the line of fire.
All right, you pull Kevin into a little bit of an alleyway. that gets him a little bit away from the line of sight of this assassin, for lack of a better term. Lincoln, what are you doing?
Seeing that August has taken Kevin out, he is going to drop the disguise self, and basically turn around and spin towards the assassin, and he's going to cast Eldritch Blast at him.
Okay, cool, excellent. Make your attack. Do you have any cool warlock invocations that empower your Eldritch Blast?
Do I?
Like
Don't
repelling
No.
blast here would be insane.
I wish I took Mask of Many Faces and what is it, the ability Devil Sight.
Devil
so no,
Sight,
I
okay.
unfortunately don't.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I rolled an 18 for 1 force damage.
Okay. Hey, you know what? You shoot it up there, the beam collides with them and kind of shrugs it off a bit, or with them, obscured black figure, dark, clouded, shrouded, whatever, and you make contact. The individual slips behind the roof, not to be seen anymore. August, as you pull Kevin behind into the alleyway, what are you doing?
Who the hell is trying to kill you?
Look, not all of us have great relationships. Tried to pay off a favor.
What, like an ex-girlfriend?
Oh, more like a crime lord.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you could go. I was thinking aloud.
Okay. Yeah, at this point, seeing that the assassin just kind of ducked behind and kind of knowing his limits, that he wouldn't be able to track this person and get him by himself, Lincoln turns back towards the alley where August and Kevin are, and looks at August first and says, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, I'm fine. I don't think Kevin is.
Very well. He will basically, even though he doesn't need to be up close, he's just going to kneel down next to Kevin, and he is going to cast Healing Light
Okay.
on him
Nice.
while pulling out the crossbow bolt.
All right. You pull out the crossbow bolt. Ugh! A little bit of blood kind of spurting out of the side as you administer the healing light, which begins to close the wound.
Yep, 2 points of health back.
Okay. How are you?
It doesn't matter. I believe she had questions for you.
Who were you watching?
Reha.
Lincoln's just going to look over to August for an indication that if she knows who it is.
What the hell is Reha?
You don't know who you're hanging out with.
Is this Reha? And I point to Lincoln.
No! The half-elf, short hair, earrings.
My brother?
Wait, Duke Reha had a daughter?
No.
What? What do you mean he's your brother?
Well, I know we don't look alike, but there are sometimes people are adopted in this world, Kevin.
Right. And then you see his eyes just kind of go, oh shit. Like, as he realizes who you are, he's like, you're alive.
Oh, no, I'm not.
Wow. Defying death. I knew you defied gravity, but...
Maybe I should just put you back out in the open and see if you get stuck with some other arrows.
Yeah, I'll admit I didn't kill him.
No. Look, maybe I can help. Provide information, double agent type shit.
Okay, you said you're working for a crime lord, but actually, what are you trying to accomplish here?
Look, I was assigned to gather information on Breha, but it also happened to know that the same people are looking for that gnome that you all were hanging out with.
Oh, the doctor?
Yeah, I believe, don't know his name. Just that he's wanted.
Oh, that doesn't
Wanted
surprise me
doctor.
at all. What, medical malpractice?
Luke's face is so
I
priceless.
know.
No, the Baron has declared him an enemy of the state.
And then I probably should give him more credit than I already do. What exactly did he do?
Baron's awfully vague. Something about stealing critical medical supplies. Part of the reason that I can never say her name. Eglantine died.
So, he's an enemy of the state because he killed Eglantine.
No, he didn't kill Eglantine. He's an enemy of the state because he stole the supplies that were going to be used to heal Eglantine. Some disease.
Right.
She obtained on a hunting accident, I believe.
Yeah. No, that seems to happen a lot. So they think I'm dead?
Yeah. That's the rumor, at least.
How did that happen?
Hunting accident.
Right. And the Valerian and Dorian hunting accident, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, it's the #1 cause of death.
Yeah.
I mean, our
Weird.
culture, we basically worship the hunt. I mean, really. It's been quite the social practice. Kind of like no pain, no gain, but, with death and hunting.
Have you ever been hunting, Kevin?
Oh, I went with my
Mike.
dad a few times. Damn it, Mike!
He is
It's kind of
losing
like
it.
the no pain, no gain.
Okay, hold on. Look, what questions you ask?
Sorry, I gotta stop looking at Mike.
Mike.
would this make more sense if we all gathered back together at the inn to discuss this? Because I am sorry, I am confused.
Look, I'd really rather not be in public spaces.
Oh,
This
well,
alleyway is
we'll
really
do
nice.
a private room.
If you'd rather be in a private room with us, then I'm sure we'll be happy to accommodate.
Fine, but you have some kind of disguise magic? Could you use it on me?
No.
Oh,
No.
Blunter than a hammer to a nail.
It's only for myself.
okay.
Oh, I've got jack shit. I don't do magic.
Anyone want to switch clothes? I need something to look different.
I'm also not arrow-proof.
Okay, let's just.
Fine, we'll switch clothes, you... Here, let's go into this alley over here.
Follows you and kind of like in a very like shy locker room like way, just kind of like changes as quickly as possible.
I take it you've never been in prison.
Prison. More in a metaphorical sense, I guess.
Fine. Give me your clothes.
Hands over. They're actually like kind of nice. Like the closer inspection, they're almost like costume quality. So not for casual wear, but they give the appearance of something. There's an intention behind this design that is not. It's a disguise.
It doesn't matter, he is going to cast Disguise Self on him.
Fair enough.
He's gonna change his appearance.
All right, absolutely. What does this appearance look like?
You know what? He is going to... He's actually just going to return back to the green cloaked figure.
Okay.
So Regan.
Yeah.
So,
Rhaegar. Yep. Absolutely.
Rhaegar, sorry. A little bit taller Rhaegar because he can only shorten himself like by a foot or so. But
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So he looks like a taller Rhaegar right now.
Okay. You begin to take him back, and he just kind of looks at the two of you as you're traveling. Right. So, where's this room we're headed off to? Just up the stairs? Or...
Back where you left us.
Okay. And he just tries to really nonchalantly look around and try to keep an eye out, but you are able to get back to the inn. You all reconvene in the same room. Lucian, Yorick, and Zunrith just outside the door with Rhaegar, and you now have both cloaked figures in this room.
Lincoln is immediately going to drop the disguise self so there's not confusion over which one's talking.
I just have the crossbow aimed at the new cloaked figure coming in.
You
So-
looked better the other way.
Thank you, Rhaegar. So, who's this?
Oh, this is Kevin.
Last name? Surname?
I forget Kevin.
Hi, I'm new.
Speak up, boy. A little faster.
Stout.
Kevin Stout.
Doesn't ring
Yeah.
a name to me. Doesn't ring a bell to me.
I want to check if he's in my registry.
Yeah, go for it. Did you do registry for? It was for Ugna, not Calvin, correct?
Yeah, I don't know people from Calvin. Natural 20.
Natural 20.
Wow, we've had a lot of
Damn.
those.
I was about to say, that's gonna be like the title of this episode.
I feel like another D&D group is doing really badly at this moment.
The universe is balanced.
Do you all want to apologize to them right now?
No,
Yeah,
absolutely
sorry for all
not.
your natural
No,
ones.
I'm
not sorry. Thank you for
no
your
pity.
sacrifice.
Your sacrifice is appreciated.
All right.
We're
So
telling a good story, though, damn it.
natural 20 on recalling this individual. Accessing your mind palace, you almost perfectly recall the census from a couple of years ago. There was a boy about your age, human, who you recall with this first name. You also recall that they were adopted by a foreign trader. And you recall your experience with Bramberly. And you are able to pretty quickly ascertain that he is likely adopted and possibly subjected to the same kind of experiences of a different brand that you were.
I'm gonna smile. What was your last name again?
Stout?
Before that.
Mirren?
Hmm. That's right. So Mr. Bramberly adopted you, huh?
Adopted is a generous term.
Mm-hmm. So what was he doing?
Since the deal with you went south, news got to him of your escape. Now he
You mean
wants
the-
you back in his ranks.
He wants me back. That was the deal with the watchful eyes.
Of which you're the only remaining member.
So he wants me back in his ranks when I only did one mission?
He's also looking for him. And kind of gestures over to Yorick.
Me?
Yorick,
Oh, yeah, you're an enemy of the state. Congratulations.
What bullshit charges are they leveling against me?
Oh, you'll love this, Lucian. That basically you stole the medical supplies that would have saved our little sister from dying of a dreadful disease she contracted on a hunting trip.
Well, this is awkward.
I, first and foremost, and I hop down off my perch where I'm sitting at right now.
Mm-hmm.
I first and foremost never stole supplies, and the inclination that I did so is a solely on my name and my practice,
I'll
and
hold up
I
my
will
hand.
not.
Insight check.
Hold up my hand.
Yeah, can I insight
Oh,
check?
absolutely!
Yorick
I want to
too.
see these fucking
15.
insight checks.
15.
15. Yorick, what was your check? Don't tell us whether it's persuasion or deception, because that's fun.
Sure.
Dirty 20, by the way.
Ooh.
I rolled a 10.
Plus, what, like 2?
There's no modifier to that.
Oh. So what do both Zunrith and Lincoln glean from you?
They glean that I am genuinely angry at the accusation level before me.
You're muted, Nick.
You're muted.
That you're angry about it, but like angry at the accusation or angry at like the fact that they know.
Angry at the accusation.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Lincoln's keeping that in his head, but he's not going to interfere with this.
I never stole those supplies. The accusation that I did so is beyond all reason. Braxton gave me anything I ever needed. And so unless she stole them herself, I got all my stuff legitimately. I would never tarnish my reputation nor my practice. I just walk away.
York, I don't doubt that. Try to stay calm. Anyway, Kevin. Anything else you say interesting?
Just that the gnome was surrounded in a deal that he did and then was punished for. It's information I don't entirely have, but
Right.
he
So, you're the adopted son of Bardly Stout. Apparently he doesn't like you very much, does he?
likes me as much as anyone else.
Lincoln's gonna take a look at Lucian, Zunrith, and Yorick. So what has Rhaegar enlightened us with?
He's trying to convince me, and Yorick, you explain it.
At this point, he's been drinking, and he's like tiny and doesn't weigh much, and he's just gonna.
Right. So, you were looking for mistress. She's everywhere.
I just mage hand and I just push him back so that way he just falls on the floor and passes out, hopefully.
Kind of lays on the
What the
ground.
hell did you do to the gnome?
Nothing. He started drinking on his own accord.
Tell you what, I'm not going to talk, but how about if you encourage him to talk to the mistress, and Lincoln will cast Disguise Self to look like the Mistress of the Vale.
Okay. And he's
And
really
stand
drunk. This is going to be very interesting.
And stand
As
over
soon as I
Rhaegar.
see him do this, guidance instantly. I don't know
Okay.
what he's doing, but I'm guidancing him.
Okay. You stand over Rhaegar and just like eyes wide.
Why are you here? You're supposed to stay hidden.
I'm gonna touch his back and be like, we called her, but for some reason she can't speak. Could you speak through her? She was about to tell us where she is, and I'm
He's
going
going
to
to nod
rub
his
him.
head slowly.
I'm the
I
most.
rub his back as my hand starts to glow, and I cast Charm Person.
Damn. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
There we go.
That's a wisdom save, right?
Yep.
That's a 9.
That's an 11 DC, so that's
If
great.
he's a gnome, he has advantage.
Oh, he does.
Can I use my inspiration to cause him to have disadvantage?
But does he have
Sure.
disadvantage because he's drunk and we are putting forth a very convincing show for him?
My God.
You know what? I'm gonna say don't worry about the inspiration. I'm gonna say
Cool.
he is drunk, which I do think imposes disadvantage on saving throws.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna say the 9 stays because it's also a great story beat.
Okay.
And as
How do I
you
get to feel useful?
as you stand over as Mistress Vale, Lucian charms him, and like Rhaegar just like looks at you, Lucian, and he's like,
You're my best friend, right?
and just starts crying into your shoulder.
I'm gonna look at August. You just need to tell me where the mistress is, because she can't talk right now.
She's right there.
She can't speak. She has a horse in her throat.
You don't find the fucking mistress. She works with all the traders. Favors. Well connected. You have to go through them.
Lincoln's going to kneel down and just basically like grab Rhaegar's chin with the hands and just kind of help him keep focused and turn his head to Lucian, just basically force him to keep talking.
Light is brightest in the shadows.
It's probably some kind of code you're supposed to respond with. An answer. Like, luckily I always pack an umbrella.
You
And he kind of leans over to Lucian and pokes you in the chest feebly.
make me feel safe.
And just kind of like
Toss
rests
him off.
that.
Yeah, I'm going to drop the disguise self.
Oh my gosh.
You should just put him in your room.
Oh yeah, I have a key to lock it. I'll be right back.
So you're
Sorry,
going.
I tried to help.
Okay, we still have a Kevin to deal with. Kevin. So
He's just
if you
kinda
walk
staring.
outside, are you gonna die?
Some did try to kill him.
Most likely.
Hmm. Okay.
So who does Kevin work for?
Kevin?
My guardian.
Mr. Brambley Stout. And how is the halfling doing?
Better now that he has that tiefling. Just absolute demon of a character.
What?
Is this the slaver person that
Yes.
we were?
Yes, I was framed for slavery.
Looks a lot like you. And points towards Lincoln.
He looks like me.
Yeah, kinda and kinda not.
Is
Except,
it
you
the-
know,
What?
walks around with smoke just slithering off him.
What's his name?
Brick.
Yeah. You know him?
Yes.
Do all tieflings know each other?
That's a horrible thing to say.
I slap him with my
Right.
mage hand.
Right.
So you
Sorry.
work. So you work for Breck,
Stay on
or
topic.
Breck is.
You just know of Breck. He's always working on some top secret shit.
Where is he?
Where are both of them?
Last I heard, he was on his way to the Underdark.
In the
Both
dark.
of them?
Oh, just the tiefling.
Great. So, where's Brambley?
Probably on his ship.
Great.
Left me in port. gave me an assignment.
When does he get back?
Well, supposedly he gets back tomorrow afternoon. A lot of the
All right.
sailors like to make themselves scarce when he visits.
So what? Kevin needs to be gone by tomorrow, or he needs to be dead by tomorrow?
I'd rather the first.
Hmm.
Don't fancy dying much.
Well. What's the bounty on his head? Just curious. How much?
Last I checked, it was around 500 gold.
I'll look over Yorick. You're worth a pretty penny.
Just saying, you might want to be careful. There are those far more capable than I will be sniffing you out.
So who shot you?
I didn't get a good look.
Don't know. Likely another one of Bramberly's agents.
Do you have the arrow still?
Lincoln?
No, I took it out.
Fine. Makes it easier for me.
Easier for you to what?
Well, if I don't take care of him, he's not a patient, so I have no qualms with hurting him.
Well, he's given us information, and as far as I'm concerned, he is working for some people that are after us, so maybe it's not better to keep him alive.
I'd rather he stayed alive.
Thank you. At least someone's showing some sense. And he kind of like goes over and like puts his arm around Lucian.
Take your hand off me.
Right.
I'm not necessarily saying you die, but I'm definitely saying you're not in this town come sundown. Now, how you choose to be that way is up to you.
Please, I'm just... Give me...
Yeah, this town ain't big enough for the two of you.
Just give me
It's
some...
high noon.
Maybe if you give me some money, I can get out here of my own. There are plenty of ships. It's hard to track overseas.
Yeah, who else is in your merry band? Obviously you're adopted, so brothers, sisters.
Well, there was... Hold on. There was Shorty. Kind of the firstborn. Massive brainiac Goliath, that one. Then there was, Georgina? And there were others, but we just knew them by numbers.
So speaking past tense, I'm assuming they're gone?
I was left here alone, okay? I was
They're all
told,
dead, or...
stay here, find information, report when I get back. Was effectively
Clearly,
what
they
I was
didn't
told.
trust you that much if they left you a babysitter.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for pointing out the obvious.
So where does this get back to? Where are you going? Or where would you be going?
I don't know, somewhere far north, maybe? Valinolst, I know it's sketchy, but...
No. After you gathered information on us, where were you going?
No, just on the seas. He can control his soul out there. We help him, we get to the spot where we're supposed to go, it's not like we can leave. None of us can swim. Why are you looking at me like that?
Are you? I'm not understanding what he's saying. Anyone else tracking?
No.
What are you saying?
He's.
I'm just going. The plan was to go back out to sea. All right.
You're going to go back out to sea
With
immediately
Brambury.
after. With Bram. So, in the meantime, after you left us, where were you going?
Somewhere hopefully safe. Bit of a
Yes, you didn't
hideout
know.
he's got here.
Oh, they're the words we wanted. There's a hideout here. Where is that hideout?
It's in a graveyard.
That's pleasant.
People here are real superstitious. Avoid it at all costs.
Well,
Technically,
So, I don't care much for this Brambley. He's involved in the slave trade and all sorts of other illegal activities, but mostly the most unsavory being the slave trade, which I do not agree with whatsoever. I'd like it to end here, and I'd like to cause Mr. Brambley as much trouble as possible. Anyone else want to desecrate a graveyard?
Desecrate a graveyard, no. But if you mean taking business up with Bramberly, by all means. I'm here to help.
I have no problem with this.
Yeah.
After all,
Zuna?
slaves are in a different kind of prison.
Zonareth, you've been quiet the whole time.
Zunra's outside the room. He's not like inside the room with everybody.
I know. He's still saying Zunareth. Still asking.
No response.
So,
He gets back tomorrow sometime afternoon, and perhaps he arrives to a uncomfortable living space. Fun?
In the
that's fine with
meantime,
me.
hurry to make sure that Kevin here doesn't alert them.
Kevin, you're a citizen of Ugnaught. If you remained there, you probably would have died, although you are human. So, maybe you had made a living. If not, maybe not. But
What does that
you
have
see-
to do with anything?
You're a citizen of Ugnaught. Are you not?
I'm sorry, what was that? Looks towards August.
What? Nothing.
Were you not a citizen of Ugnaught?
That was a long time ago.
So you don't care?
About what exactly?
Alright, sounds good.
Y'all are a strange bunch.
I don't care. I guess do what you want. I need to go make a phone call. I mean, talk to someone.
What's a phone?
I think he's off his rocker, that one. Alright.
I believe a phone is a type of animal, and so he has to imitate its call.
I mean, maybe. Honestly, I think we should just tie Kevin up and leave him here.
Not against that.
Great.
I mean, would you
Just
rather
have
just
a-
go out there and risk
Left for
getting
dead, huh?
killed? Well, we'd come back unless if we all get killed.
Well, we can just
True,
tie
but
him up in here.
eventually,
We can tie him
the
up in here.
proprietor will find him.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably seen weirder things, honestly.
It seems like it, and he probably regularly checks for bound guests. Yeah, just in case.
So you're just gonna leave me to be found by the innkeeper?
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm just saying if we were to die, he probably doesn't check, every hour or something, but if we were to die, you wouldn't starve to death here because you were tied up. He would eventually find you, I'm sure.
Do you have a
Fuck.
better suggestion in which we would trust you to keep your mouth shut and keep us safe?
Like I said, if you give me some money, I'd be happy to make myself scarce. I could easily, I know how to go on ships. You could bring me to another ship, master. People who aren't in league with Bramberly. Get far away from here. Maybe, I hear this, there's a new town that's developing. Across the waters.
Oh yes, new towns, they come up all the time.
Look, it's a center of information, if you will. Rumors.
If we bring you to a ship, you better be gone. I don't want to see you back here.
Fine.
Especially while Bramberly's in town.
Believe me, I am perfectly fine with that. I believe you might have stalled the assassin long enough to get me a little bit free. Help me out?
Is there any...
I helped you.
And
I'll take him to a ship. I have money.
I will give some money too. The amount of money that I give you is dependent on how much additional information you can give us. Do you have a map of the hideout?
No. This is like
That's a bad answer.
standard. Well, I could draw one maybe.
How do you get in?
The more helpful you are to us, the more generous I will be with giving you money.
So there's this weird gravekeeper. He's real kooky. Go talk to him, butter him up a bit. Really likes what are the damn things called? Pies.
The gravekeeper likes pies.
I mean, he doesn't see people very often. You know, a sweet gesture, get you a long way. He'll take you on the tour underground, and from there, it's pretty much smooth sailing.
Okay, Lincoln pulls out a gold coin and puts it in front. Okay, that is enough for 1 gold. Do you have anything else?
There's a lot of really valuable loot in some of those. People don't touch it. I've seen the records.
I am sorry to interrupt you, sir, but do we look like we are some fucking bandits? We were just talking about letting some slaves free.
I mean, I don't know what y'all look like. To be perfectly honest, you're kind of across the board.
He looks over at the rest of the group. Yeah, that's actually kind of fair. All right, he puts another gold piece on there. Tell you what. Is there anything
Look,
else?
I'm happy to
that
go
you
with the
know?
elf to the ship.
All right.
August will take Kevin to the ship. Probably should be at least a few more people in case the assassin shows back up. And we should probably...
And take a whole group of people to draw more attention.
I guess... However you want to play it. It's your call.
I'll take him down there and we'll avoid crowds and people who would see us.
Can Lincoln make an insight
As
check?
best
See
we
if there's
can.
see if there's anything else he's omitting or forgetting as far as something that'd be beneficial to the hideout.
You can. You can make an insight check.
17.
He is very much convinced. Like, he saw you wield magic he hasn't seen before, and like August caught up to him without being caught, and you have this whole collection of really interesting individuals like, he thinks you guys are relatively capable. And as best as you can tell, he's gone, maybe these people are like my fucking saviors. Like, so he's really trying to be as compliant as possible.
Okay. He said he pulls out 5 gold and says, "This is my contribution. Good luck."
All right. Thanks. Can we go to the ship now?
All right. We'll try to get to the docks as best way possible without anyone spotting us.
I will just toss you a rock, basically. It doesn't look like anything special, but it's just like, if you talk into it, we can hear it. If you get into trouble, you can let us know.
Well, hopefully we'll avoid any trouble.
Be careful.
All right.
Yeah.
So you head out with Kevin. Are you asking Kevin any more questions on your walk, or are you just focused on getting to the ship?
Just focused on getting to the ship without being seen.
Okay.
Like, I don't, it's hard for me to figure out what the hell Kevin knows. He seems all over the place as far as his information goes. And the more and more I think he has nothing of interest for me personally.
Okay. Absolutely.
So I just kind of want to avoid people as much as possible. If there's like a way to like access the docks from a less popular vantage point, you know, and kind of sneaking around that way as best as possible. Because I mean, I'm sure the docks are like a congregation point.
Yeah. Why don't you?
And that might be somewhere, you know, an assassin would be watching to see if he makes his escape.
Gotcha.
Because it's not like there are roads to other cities that are so close by out of here.
Give me a preparatory check, so like an investigation or like some kind of check associated with plotting,
okay.
And then we'll follow that up with a stealth check that will be modified by this check.
17 investigation.
Okay. From your experience traveling to the different shops and throughout the trade post town, you are able to kind of plot a route that you think is a good combination of being in crowds where you will blend in, and also in back alleyways that will keep you disconnected from location to location. Go ahead and roll a stealth check with advantage. And actually, you're going to get triple advantage because he is also very, very good at this.
Oh, well, I got a natural 20, so.
Fuck, yeah. Okay.
Nat 20s.
Like a shadow in the night, you disappear and weave throughout the city, passing through, occasionally able to do, like, just slipping through people, barely seen amidst the denizens of this space. You get to the docks, and you can hear a bunch of clattering, a bunch of shouting across one of the ships here. You can see that there is a woman with kind of this tanned pale skin with these kind of dark brown locks of hair that cut off just about mid-neck, and she seems to be wielding a rapier and just kind of goading one of the fighters on. You can see another individual just kind of engaging in a little bit younger. While she looks to be in her 30s, this individual is male, looks to be in their 20s. Appears to be wielding the same rapier, and there's a bit of taunting going back. You know, you can get a little lost in your footwork, darling. And the conversation kind of goes back and forth, and eventually you see kind of the tail end of the fight as the woman ends up the victor. And there's a shot for the crowd, "Aye!" as they celebrate her victory. To the captain! A number of cheers erupt.
Okay.
What would you like to do?
I'm gonna have to pull Kevin aside somewhere like on the docks that they can't see us.
Okay. I would say with your just carrying over your natural 20, you're able to do so relatively easily, kind of position a little bit below the docks even.
Okay. And I say, all right, Kevin, let me give you this. And I pull out my dagger and I stab him.
Shit. Make an attack with advantage.
Okay. 22.
22.
And that would be 7, but I also get sneak attack.
Oh, you totally get sneak attack on this. Shit. Shit, fuck.
Ah, are you kidding? 2? I rolled 2 ones, so
No.
9 total.
Immediately upon jabbing him, your blade pierces his stomach, and he just looks at you with like this fury.
I don't trust double crossers.
Roll initiative.
All right.
Roll fucking initiative.
Now you all get to feel how Lincoln felt like when he was alone in the cell. Just kidding.
All right, what's your initiative?
12.
His is 10.
Yeah.
And you did use your rakish audacity, right?
Yes. Is that the initiative thing? Because I
Yes.
like plugged in an initiative thing into my. I just plugged it into the calculation.
Okay, cool.
So.
Cool. Oh yeah, I see. You have a +8. Yes, that makes sense. Cool. Yeah. So 12 versus 10. Your move first. What do you do?
I'm gonna give him another nice little dagger stab. Actually, you know what? I'll grab the rapier and stab him with that.
Okay.
Hold on. Oh, there's the natural one.
Oh no.
Ooh.
As you swing out your sword and try to go in for a jab, he kind of like takes the blade that's stuck in his stomach and like uses the flat end of it, pulls it out, and just like pushes your blade aside. And man, I'm gonna give him. You're gonna fall prone from losing balance. I know that's really boring, but like it just makes a lot of sense in this space. You guys are on a hill and everything. So you are on the ground. You still do have movement, technically. Because you haven't spent any.
Nope, I'm just gonna take the dodge action.
Okay. Oh, it's a bonus action. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
So that gives disadvantage, so he will not have advantage.
No, I think that gives me +5 AC.
Does it?
Dodge. Am I thinking Pathfinder? I thought it gave me +5 AC.
I think that's
Pretty sure it's just disadvantage.
I think most
Because it should be the
systems in
same.
5e
It should be the
is
same as my
disadvantage.
dope monk shit that I got.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that's just disadvantage.
Until the start of your next turn, any attack roll made against you has disadvantage if you can
Yeah.
see the attacker, and you make dexterity saving throws with advantage. You'll
Okay.
lose
Okay.
this benefit if you're incapacitated or if your speed drops to 0.
Okay, cool. So yeah, you take the dodge action. He is gonna take a normal attack. That is going to be that's just a 13 to hit. Does that hit?
No.
All right. He is gonna take an offhand attack with his second dagger that he has from you. Ooh, that's a natural 20.
Okay.
With disadvantage? Oh,
It
it's
has
straight,
advantage because she's prone,
Straight.
so it's straight. Okay, that is going to be 9 piercing damage from the dagger. He does not get
Okay.
to do sneak attack. And we are back to your round. How are you going at this?
I'm still trying to kill him. Stabbing him. Probably with the second dagger.
Okay.
That's another nat 1.
Wow.
Oh shit. As you go for this attack, he just swats the dagger aside and you watch as it flies out and just goes into the water a good 20 feet out.
Okay, I'm gonna stand up and it's dodge.
Okay, absolutely. Takes a straight roll. Oh, you stand up? Ooh.
Yep.
He gets a natural one. As he takes his dagger out towards you. This is like the
This
bite
is
of the
worst
worst.
fight ever.
Ah! Ah! Like, okay, natural one. You, as the player, get to decide how you interact with their natural one. So as he goes to stab you, how do you interact with it?
I don't know. I knock it away.
Okay, absolutely. We'll say you kick it. You kick it. It goes into the air a little bit, and flies behind you so that he can't use it anymore. It's your turn again.
Okay. Well, both the rapier and the dagger suck, but I think I'm left with only the rapier.
This music is way too dramatic
11.
for the natural ones being rolled.
I know. That was a 5 that I rolled, plus 6, 11.
5 plus 6, 11. That's not gonna hit either.
I didn't think so.
Yeah, that's a natural
Dodge
18.
action.
Yeah. That is gonna hit.
Is
That's
that
gonna
with
be
disadvantage?
oh, thank you. Let me roll again. Double 18s actually this round.
Okay, yep, that hits.
Yep, that's gonna be 6 piercing damage.
Okay.
Your turn.
Still trying to kill this guy. 21 to hit.
Okay. 21 definitely hits.
9 piercing, but I also get sneak attack because of fancy footwork.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Is that fancy footwork or is that that's still rakish audacity?
Yes.
You don't need advantage on your attack roll to use your sneak attack against the creature. If you're within 5 feet of it, no other creatures are within 5 feet of you, and you don't have disadvantage.
Yep.
So.
Yep. As long as you're
sneak
dueling,
attack.
basically, which is like literally this situation.
7. So
7.
16 total.
How do you want to do this?
I want to stab him right in the heart.
Okay. You wind up your rapier and stab him straight to the heart, and it like gives way very easily, like butter almost, as it just slices right through. He looks at you and just begins to like spill blood out of his mouth as his eyes go lifeless, falls to the ground. From above you, you hear a soft clap. And you see the kind of middle ashen toned woman with the undercut you saw earlier. You could use a little work on your form. Want some help?
If you turn around and walk away right now, I won't go after you next.
As you wish. She kind of like turns around, goes back onto the ship.
Okay, I'm gonna push the body of that guy into the water.
Okay, you do so.
And I guess use the water. I hate using salt water, but to clean off the rapier and me a little bit.
Okay, absolutely. It takes some time cleaning up a little bit. You do catch that there is a conversation overhead about the elf playing in the salt water, just on the ship, kind of casually, but you're able to do so without being bothered. I assume you make your way back to the group?
Yep.
Okay. You're able to do so, kind of retracing your steps rather efficiently. You get into the room with your party members. What have you all been doing anything, or are you just kind of chilling?
Yeah, Lucian left a long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Lucian, what did you leave to do?
First off, I went and gave Vlad like 10 gold, and then I went to Gethel.
Okay. You knock on the door. Is anyone coming with Lucian?
Lincoln would be hanging out with Mahar.
Yeah, I think Zunreth would follow Lucian. He would like trail him at a distance.
Oh,
Okay. All right.
I'm gonna follow Zunrith.
Okay. Just a little trail of like party member following party member. Duck, duck, goose. You guys make your way over. Lucian, you get to the door. Zunrith, you see Lucian. Yorick, you see Zunrith.
Come in.
I'll go in. Close the door behind me.
I thought you'd be back.
So you know my mother, or knew?
Oh, yes. We were good friends.
Seems that way. And so you know why I'm here then, or?
I do. And I have just the curriculum.
Oh boy, more back to private tutors. All right.
I've never had a pupil before.
Well, just as long as you don't break out whips and start saying learn, I think we'll be all right.
Zunrith, what are you doing?
Just waiting outside. See, if I can't see inside the shop, then just waiting outside.
I would say you can see in. Ooh, well, so there aren't any windows to the shop. But you could try to position yourself to see through the door, as it's not closed. I don't think.
No, I'll stay off to the side. I'll try and be non-suspicious.
Okay, Yorick.
I'll just kind of look over Zunrith. I'm just going to be studying him a little bit, just kind of checking up on him without talking to him, because I'm sure Zunrith is highly opposed to any conversation.
All right. Lucian, she prepares a few books. And this is where we're going to engage in a little bit of downtime for everyone. So you all have how do you want to engage in general? Let's say you have about 5 days. And if you
I want to think about this one.
Okay. In that case, what we'll do is Gethel's hungry eyes look at a possible student. And all of you have a number of different. What?
There's a song for this. Continue. Hungry eyes. All right.
But to conclude tonight, you all will have a relatively relaxed rest of your day. So we will work on that for next week. And for those of you watching, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
See you next time.
See you next time, guys.